Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Mackenzie. If you are stopping by for the first time, thank you. I like to post videos about myself and my children. I'm a college student raising two boys, one who has special needs. So today's video, I'm going to explain to y'all about Aiden's history. He was diagnosed after his first birthday with Kawasaki's disease. So I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit about that. Hey, okay, so I'm going to be using my laptop behind me to help explain to the best of my abilities exactly what I see Aiden, exactly what Kawasaki's disease is, and then just tell y'all a little bit about how this experience had affected us. So Aiden is going to be joining me now, and I'm going to go ahead and use my computer and just explain to y'all briefly about what Kawasaki's disease is. So let's look at it. Alrighty. So Kawasaki's disease, it's an illness that involves the skin, mouth, and lymph nodes. It most often affects kids under the age of 5. And like I said, a week after his first birthday that he started running fever. So it says early stages include rash, fever. Symptoms include high fever, peeling of the skin. Late stages, there might be inflammation of blood vessels. It can also affect the lymph nodes, skin, mucous membrane. So treatment is aspirin and immunoglobulin, which we did receive that, but I'll go into those details later. One more. Okay, so Kawasaki's disease makes children ill. It triggers inflammations in different parts of the body. The most dangerous problem related to Kawasaki's disease is the threat of vasculitis, which is blood vessel inflammation, especially in the body's medium-sized arteries. The vasculitis can be especially dangerous when it damages the heart. So hopefully that gives you all a better idea of what Kawasaki's disease is. It's not something that's very common, and I know that we had certainly never heard of it. Aiden's infectious disease doctors, when they started throwing this term around, actually told me and his dad not to Google it. But of course we did, and I just want to tell you guys, what happened leading up to this. So Aiden turned 1 on October 1st. We had an awesome first year with him. He was such a great baby. We never had any problems. It really seemed like he was never sick. I know me and his dad even had discussed that we just were so lucky. And it was about 5 or 6 days after his first birthday that Aiden started running fever. And I just thought it was normal. So I treated the symptoms and I called my mom. She is a nurse and has been a pediatric nurse for 20-something years. So she's always my go-to person when something is wrong with my children. And she agreed just to treat it if it lasted more than a few days to go ahead and call his doctor. So we had an appointment with his pediatrician. The morning that I was supposed to take him to see his pediatrician, I had noticed that Aiden's testicles were swollen. That, I don't even know what to say. I mean, it was so scary. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what was wrong, and he seemed fine, but it was just very unusual. So of course I called my mom, and she immediately tells me that it could be two things. It could be hydrocele or it could be testicular torsion, and that we should probably just go ahead and go to the hospital. So we did, and I didn't realize at that point, I'm gonna try to get through this as best I can. Sorry, that we were gonna be there for a while. Coffee break. So getting back, we go to the hospital, and Aiden, we were in the emergency room, and definitely as the day progressed, his condition did worsen. And his poor, just little body was so swollen, and his eyes were red, and he had this rash all over his body, and it was just all these things going on at once. And it's like, please somebody tell me what is wrong with my child, because really at that point nobody knew what was going on. And we ended up spending the night in ICU. Once he was discharged to the floor, we ended up, I think, being in the hospital for a week. But we had just an incredible team of doctors, coming and checking on him and just trying to pinpoint exactly, what was going on with him. And finally, they had brought up the possibility of this being Kawasaki's. and that they were going to go ahead and start treatment. His infectious disease doctor told us that she would feel better at least starting the immunoglobulin and not knowing exactly if this is what it was than not. So that is what they did, and fortunately they were correct. And you know, it took a couple days, but things got better. So Aiden has a cardiologist, and she is amazing. After we were first discharged from the hospital, he had to have echoes done every few weeks because part of the disease does cause the inflammation, which can affect the heart, and they are concerned about aneurysms. So we did that, and eventually we only had to go back, you know, I think it was like every couple months, and then starting in August, he only has to go now annually to have an echo done to check on his heart. And it just was, it was traumatic. It was something that I had never experienced before. You know, when you become a parent, things like this, at least to me, I never thought about. I don't know, I just never considered my child getting sick, and you know, especially something that wasn't very common that I'd never heard of. So if you can, you know, relate, if I'm sure that you have had your own experiences, I just wanted to share this with you, and you know, just let y'all know exactly what is going on, or what has gone on with Aiden. It was actually his cardiologist that had led to his diagnosis of autism. So that is going to be a later video. I will explain how we got there, and that is all for Sorry, Aiden's having a moment, but I just wanted to go ahead and say something really quickly that I forgot to mention earlier in the video about Kawasaki's. That Kawasaki's disease is not hereditary, nor is it contagious. So take what you will with that information, but I just wanted to share.